Look, it's been clear for a long time now the Prime Minister is weak and out of his depth. But what's also apparent is that on the most important task of government, that's national security, he doesn't care and is asleep at the wheel. Now, you'd think that the presence of a Chinese naval task force off our coast, quite possibly accompanied by a nuclear submarine, engaged in not one but two rounds of live fire, would get serious prime ministerial attention. Let's face it, this is an attempt to intimidate. But in saying, as he did, this was nothing out of the ordinary and that we had been notified, not only was he complacent about a direct act of bullying, but he was factually completely wrong.
Well, China issued, in accordance with practice, an alert that it would be conducting these activities, including the potential use of live fire. It's outside of Australia's exclusive economic zone.
The only way you knew about this was because a Virgin pilot heard about it and called in.
Correct. So is it the case that Defence was only notified via Virgin and Air Services Australia 28 minutes after the firing window commenced?
Yes.
As the Chief of Defence Force made clear in Senate estimates yesterday, Australia had no formal notification whatsoever. The Chinese broadcast a general warning to the world. That was picked up by a Virgin pilot 10 minutes after the window of fire had opened and was then sent on to other flights so that they could divert out of the area. Now, later on from that, a New Zealand frigate also sent us a warning. Now, why this matters is that live military fire in the area of a commercial aircraft is what brought down MH17, killing all 283 passengers and 15 crew on board. So this isn't a small issue. But it wasn't just the Prime Minister asleep at the wheel. We only discovered all of this thanks to a commercial pilot and then the New Zealand Navy, when our military should have been all over this intrusion into our home waters. But this is of a piece with a Prime Minister who didn't protest after the Chinese leader after their Navy injured our divers, and a government that's consistently making excuses for belligerent acts from China in a futile attempt to say, come election time, that relations have been normalised. This Prime Minister is too busy smearing Peter Dutton to look after Australia's national security. And last Friday, when all of this happened, he was too busy at a Labor fundraiser for his candidates in the Illawarra. Unlike Prime Ministers in the past that would have immediately returned to Canberra, got themselves a face-to-face briefing and issued a formal statement, this one does none of that and all but goes into hiding as the great China apologist he's shown himself to be. Quite simply, Anthony Albanese cannot be trusted to stand up for Australia.